Hey folks, really excited for this session with you guys. Cool that we finally got to make it happen. We've been talking about it for a couple of years. Just a couple of points of order. One, the entrance to KCVI for the gyms is Frontenac and Earl, so recommend parking around there or just meeting at that spot. You can just walk right in. There will be someone before you and there will be somebody after you, so try to be early and be reasonable about getting off the fields at the right time. One other thing is that the fields are slippery, which it does take some getting used to. It ends up not being much of a deal. Like, it's not dangerous by any means, but the turf is new and it's just, yeah, kind of slippery, which was a bit surprising, but you get used to it pretty quick, so just give yourself some time. I'll explain the 4 drills, hopefully fairly quickly, and kind of go over the main purpose of each one and what y'all should be trying to get out of it. So here we go. The first drill is just called under and go. We'll run 2 versions of it, so one group going down here, the other coming back the other way. Fairly straightforward. People lining up here, one thrower in the corner. The person at the front of the line is going to go out and under, and this person's going to give them a throw and go move. And what a lot of people do when they run this is they throw it and then immediately, because they know they're trying to get downfield, they like run right past this person's shoulder. But the thing is, in a real game, you'll have a mark here. And so your first step, it should actually be to try to seal this person and drive this way. Drive like almost a 45-degree out, because that puts a ton of pressure for this person to get wide. And then when they're spending all that time getting wide, you are creating a nice big throwing lane for yourself. So early on in the drill, you're just gonna, I'd recommend on throwing the backhand to start, because it's a little bit quicker, you can get used to it. Take one hard step off the line, and then early on in the drill, you'll just get a short out, but as you get more comfortable, try to work longer spacing. And this person who's catching it, they should be trying to like catch, read the person over their shoulder, and then almost immediately throw. It should be a pretty quick kind of throw. Really it should be like a leading throw that the person catches, rather than like the person gets way out and then we shoot it. So again, it kind of makes sense that we're trying to work on like a shorter throw early, get the throw out when you catch it. And then as you get more comfortable, work so that it goes out and then sits a little bit more. Yeah, leading throw, quick movement. And then after you make this cut here, you come to the front of the other line. And from the front of the line, you're always going to make, you'll make this cut out and under. This person makes the deep cut. And then after you throw that, you become the start of this line with the, there should be a pile of discs over here. So that's the under and go, just an opportunity to get bodies moving. The next drill is all about rolls, and we should be able to run 2 to 4 versions of this drill depending on how things are going. Offense is in red, defense is in green. Offense has a disc here and they're trying to score that way. It's a 2-throw drill, and I'll describe the drill first. So offense is essentially beaten already green to the open side. This throw comes out, and then what normally happens is that this person cuts up line and this person tries to mark, which it creates like a little bit of an inefficiency, especially because the mark is usually on this side. They're defending what's a standard flick mark, and so they just get beat to that side. And so a number of years ago, people who came from soccer realized, hey, let's when this person's running this way, instead of this person trying to run the whole way to take that, we're actually just going to have this defender pick them up, and this person comes across and sets the mark. So it just creates a really nice way to, like, if you're getting beat, it's an opportunistic way. In an ideal world, you don't have to do it, but it's a really, really great thing to have in your bag of tricks. So again, this person is on offense, green's on defense. Red has won the battle to the open side already, and usually people see throw and go moves. They throw to the open side, they go open side, and instead of this person trying to go after the disc, they pick this person up as this defender comes over and closes. And so it seals the lane and puts the disc over on the sideline, which is actually where we want it. So the second part of this drill, which is there's no pausing, it's immediately into the second part, is a sideline reset. And what I want to see actually is not just like this person worrying about the disc and this person worrying about the defender or the cutter in the lane. I actually want to see these two working together. And so the way I would approach it is this defender owns the, stays on this side, the upline space. And this person should always be aware of that shoulder. So if I was marking the disc here, I know this is the major threat. I'm not really worried about an around right here because it's only 2-on-2. So I'm gonna actually kind of cheat to this line a bit so that I can help my person up line and they know that they don't have to worry about that side of the field. As this defender starts to move, the up line defender stays tight to that open side, and this defender starts to wrap more and more and more so that they're continuing to make this a really tough throw. And if the thrower does want to throw it around, it's got to be this big loopy thing that hangs, and there's a big running distance, and this person might get the block there. So it's a 2-throw drill overall. First throw is here, boom. This person calls roll, roll. Well, they should both be calling roll, roll, roll. That roll happens, this mark comes on, and then we're into just a single throw 2v2 sideline reset. And the difference between this and regular resets is that these two defenders are working together. This person should lock down this open side. So as this person moves, they do not allow them to come back upfield. This person's job is not to worry about over here until the disc is in the air. They're just locking down this open space. And this person, their job is not to worry really about the around break, less of an issue. They really want to worry about this inside kind of flick break and own that shoulder as their first priority. And as that person moves downfield, this person keeps shoulder checking, containing that inside flick so that it becomes really hard, and it always stays kind of tight. And so if once that one throw happens, you can cycle out. Depending on numbers, you might run like a second version of offense and defense that way, and you might run 2 versions over here. So that would give you as many as 16 people in the drill. You might have 1 extra person cycling in. Just be really aware of this around throw. So I would push your groups kind of a little further down the field than you might need, just so that you don't have to worry about like bumping into any of the other groups. So that's the rolls drill. Looks like the recording's still going. The second drill is 2v2 force middle. So we're gonna start with, we'll put green on defense again. And green is always going to be forcing middle. But really that's about forcing back towards the person, their teammate. And so we're gonna play it a little bit like, we were going that way originally. This time we're going the 90 degrees, so offense is trying to score that way. And I would encourage you to set up just a single like 1-yard goal line off the back. You might only have like 2 meters around the field, so you're using one of them. But as defenders, you should know that like if this is a really narrow space that they're attacking, that can be something to your advantage, and that's really what we're doing here. These defenders are always going to be top side, which means they're going to be goal side of their person. And their job is not to stop the scores, really. Like that's not their first priority, is to get blocks. Their first priority is really to slow things down and clog the throwing lanes. And the throwing lanes are usually through the middle of the field. And so that's what everybody's trying to do here. So if this person has a disc, this handler defender is actually going to slough a little bit in the lane. That stops any throws. Not that there's any extra cutters in that lane, but it stops that throw and really makes this loopy one kind of a little more reasonable. This person puts on the mark. This person sloughs the lane a little bit, stopping forward throws. And so it really creates a situation where the disc seesaws, but doesn't really go anywhere. And oftentimes, if the handler spacing isn't perfect, it means that they're driven back every time and they create separation from their cutters. And so that creates pressure in turns. In this drill, what we'll do is you'll just do it for 10 throws. And so this offensive pair is trying to score. They're trying to work the field that way. So some moves you might see them do is the classic, what we just worked on, which is that roll. They can run that and they work together to pick it up. You might see a little bit of this action where they cut all the way across the field. You might have to switch sides of the field, and that's fine. But again, as soon as this disc moves, both players should sag off and then come back to apply pressure, all the while working towards each other. So I would encourage you to have your hips kind of half squared to your partner. Obviously not all the way, but squaring them up a little bit kind of walls off this space and makes it harder, and really means that this is the only option. If it doesn't work perfectly, that's fine. Give red offense, let's try to count 10 throws. But the goal as a defensive pair is to keep pushing them back and to really slow them down. If you use up all 10 throws, that's a big win for the defenders. And yeah, don't be afraid to be a little bit creative, but as defenders, remember, it's not a big deal if they're working laterally. That's actually kind of great if they're making lateral throws. We just got to stop the deep throws, and so we do that by like playing a little bit off and working together. So that's the 2v2 FM drill. You should be able to run one version on one half and another version on the other half of the field, and then cycle everybody through. I think you're probably going to be around 14 to 16 people. So once you've had a group of like 10 throws or 1 rep, cycle people out. So that's the 2v2 FM drill. Last drill is going to be the switching in the open lane drill. And so what we're doing here is, let's go Reds on offense again. Just like before we had these defenders playing left side and right side of the field, we're actually gonna have them playing deep and under. And so we're going back to operating offenses, trying to score in that direction. Okay, and so the drill is it's a 2-throw drill again. This person stall 10. These two decide who's gonna make the first cut. If the deep person makes the first cut, they're gonna charge into the open lane and try to come under. And when that happens, this person is going to move with them for 2 or 3 steps. As soon as they plant under, they're going to call help, 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 switch, 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 and that person gets picked up by the underneath defender. From here, usually what you'll see is this person kind of floats a little bit deeper and this person should immediately come down and pick them up. In a real game, you would need to come down a little bit depending on how deep the stack was, but from here where everybody's locked in, it's 2 throws. So this defender is going to try to probably get open, and hopefully they do get something over here or here or whatever. They work hard offensively, hoping. And then the next throw has to be to this next person, and it could be anywhere kind of on their half of the field, so they can work however they like. In a great world, we'd get to see like a double switch maybe. That would be pretty cool. We see this kind of move, this switch happen. And then, you know, we might see, oh, this person recognizes that they're going, there's no space that way. They're hoping there's some green space deep, and so they go deep, and they might actually switch again, in which case we can do that. So the goal in this scenario is to switch and keep our heads up and work together. Again, the nice things about this, we've got our hips pointed towards each other, a little bit squared up to our offensive marks. The calls should be switch, which is what we're trying to do. If we're like, you can literally say switch, 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 and call the person's name to get it going. Oh, and sorry, if the underneath defender is the first one to cut, then they're going open side and then deep, and then they get, this defender calls for the switch, and get that initial open side cutter gets picked up by the deep defender, and we're live again. And again, it's 2 throws to the first cutter, to the second cutter. So that's the switching in the lane, in the open lane drill. And then you folks are into scrimmages. If you have 10 or 12 or so, I'd say play some 4-on-4 going this way. Set up your cones here to make the end zones. If you have more than that, if you've got like 14 or 16 for some reason, then I think the better numbers are actually to play kind of a 3v3 this way and that way, and 3v3 that way and that way. So that should be it. I would say that the drills should, including the warm-up, should probably take about 45 minutes to an hour, and you should play the last half hour as scrimmages, trying to incorporate some of the skills that you'd worked on. And I would say try to wrap everything up by 5 minutes left in your time slot, which I believe is 7:30. So everything should stop at 7:25 and you should get out of there. There are people coming in after you. Drop them some words in the group chat if you have any questions about anything I said. This was the thing that people asked the most on, was for working together in pairs on defense. And so we did go over those today. So we went over rolls, which is a specific one where this defender here ends up picking up the open side drive cut, the handler strike. We worked on some 2v2 FM, which is a nice thing to do, working together with handlers. So it's kind of handler defense. And they also work switching in the open lane. So hopefully you can incorporate that in your scrimmage. Hopefully that video looks good, and excited for y'all.